Welcome back to the Jack Swarbrick Show, joined by my partner in crime, Joe Schmidt. And Joe, they said it couldn't be done. You know, we could get Father Jenkins on this show. We had Brian Kelly on this show.
We couldn't,
but they just said we couldn't get Mike Elston.
No,
they said there was no chance, and in fact, Mike proved that earlier in the year.
He did. He stood us up twice.
Well, let me just set the record straight, okay? You asked me to come on in 2 busy weekends. Okay?
Oh, the busy weekends.
Let's come on what it was. Friday, the USC game when we had 40 visitors coming, and then I think the next one was the opening game of Texas. So
I'm just saying, you know, we got the athletic director to move his show.
No,
his show.
Come on.
We moved to your office.
I'm deferring to Birch. Poor communication to me. That's all.
I now have a clear understanding of where I stand.
Oh, come on.
To your priorities, and I'm going to keep that in mind, Mike. Mike, this is this day is a culmination of an extraordinary amount of work for you. Not only, of course, are you a phenomenal coach that has helped in so many ways in this program since you've been here, but now focusing on turning out phenomenal linebackers and having the challenge of coaching limited linebackers.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Limited.
We had our work cut out for us.
But
I'm not gonna jump into this.
Okay, you shouldn't.
But you know, today the focus, of course, is on recruiting, and again, it's your leadership of this effort, and it's a multi-year effort to get to this day, isn't it?
It's incredible. We were talking earlier, Joe and I, about the preparation it takes to get to this point today, and we had to accelerate that process with quite a few prospects, just because at this time last year we lost some coaches, we reshuffled the recruiting staff, our recruiting department. And so we had to accelerate the growth and process really quickly. And to get to where we are today, it's been an incredible journey. And our coaches and our recruiting staff, our head coach, have just done an incredible job. So we're very blessed to be where we are right now.
It's sort of like planning the Normandy invasion, as I'm on planes and buses with you guys, and you've got the charts out, and you're trying to decide who's going where.
Sure.
Give us a little insight into sort of that world.
You know, it's interesting because that strategy itself is, when do you plan who to be where based on where the kid is in his process? It's always, you know, with the recruiting being where you can only put the head coach in the high school or in the house one time throughout the whole process. It's got to be strategic. So when you have a young man that might be deciding at the Under Armour game or the Army All-American game, you need to get Brian Kelly, who's your closer, in the homes before that happens. And then there's some guys that'll go to signing day, so then you push that visit as far back as you can, but he's only got a certain amount of days in the final week to hit. So it's interesting because you have to be strategic with that. Your head coach's visit, you have to get the position coaches in there at the right time, and then along with the area coaches, where you're not doing too much with one guy. And I think the strength of what we did this year was every player we went to see, we did multiple visits with different coaches, so they had multiple relationships going on. So it was more challenging for them to switch a commitment or go take another visit elsewhere. They had so many relationships built right here with this staff. And so that's the challenge strategically, is when to do what visit and making sure that you're not missing the mark on some of them.
Another challenge is probably the scope of which you have to cover the entire country. I mean, all the prospects that are in that sphere. Really, we talked a little bit about that process with an identification and evaluation, but really just how many people do you look at in a calendar year for the class?
You know, that varies per year, but, you know, each position coach and recruiting coach. So I have a pretty big area. I have Ohio, Indiana, I have Kentucky, Tennessee, a good portion of Western North Carolina. And then I also have all of the linebackers that could pop up on a daily, weekly basis. So I'm looking at roughly per coach, probably anywhere from 500 to 1,000 prospects in the recruiting cycle for one class. And being a recruiting coordinator, I'm going to watch maybe a few more. You know, I'm going to watch a lot more, actually. But, you know, it's probably anywhere from 500 to 1,000. Based on how heavy your area is. So like Autry Denson, who has Florida, there's tons of prospects down there. Not all of them are fits for Notre Dame, but he's going to be looking at them, early about what they can do on the football field. So he may watch a few more, or Todd Light, who has Texas, big state, lots of talent, California. Some of those guys may watch a few more, but I'd say anywhere from 500 to 1,000 guys.
And that's a unique challenge for Notre Dame. And really, from that 500 to 1,000 for each coach, and I understand that it varies per coach, but how many of those guys end up receiving offers? How many do we offer per cycle?
Yeah, we across the country, we offer probably less guys than anybody else, just because, they have to be able to do what we want them to do on the football field. They have to pass the academic background check, the character check that we have to grind through with the coaches that know them and that have spent the time with them. They're high school coaches, and then you're looking at a medical background. I mean, all the things have to jive, and then they have to want to come to campus. So the biggest challenge for us, once we identify those 4 things are great, let's get them to campus. Let's spend a day with them and see if they're fit for us. And not everybody makes it to campus. So. Right. That we don't offer that as many as other schools offer.
Mike, a lot of talent in this class,
yes.
and on the defensive side of the ball in particular.
Right.
Talk a little bit about some of the
Absolutely.
the young men who you'll be coaching and others on the defensive staff will be.
Well, we set out this cycle just to try to build relationships with a lot of guys so we can get in the game because we were late on most of them, And what we identified was we need to get the back end of our defense right. We played in 3 critical games this year: Clemson, Ohio State, and USC. And Joe, we didn't even put a nickel. We didn't even put a nickel on the field. We didn't have one.
Yep.
So this class on defense is overloaded with talent in the back end of our defense. Big guys, fast guys, athletic guys that can play inside corner, outside corner, nickel, can do all kinds of jobs for us. We've got some very strong safeties that'll be good candidates to also come in and get in the depth. But I mean, with 8 DBs in this class and guys that can do multiple positions, both corner and safety, that was a need for us, and I think we got it right in this class. So that was a big need. And then the other phase of it was we got to get right on pass rush. So the guys are back there covering, they're doing a great job, but then when the quarterback has all day, Joe, then it's a tough day for those DBs. So we had to be able to get guys that can create pressure on the quarterback, which we feel like we did with Dalen Hayes and Julian Aquara and Jameer Jones, guys that can add pass rush ability. Jonathan Jones is going to be a great addition there. I just watched the International Bowl that he played in, had a couple sacks, hurries on the quarterback, just an incredible athlete. So we're going to be better there. And then, to go back to the DBs, we got 2 mid-year guys that should be able to help us right away, and Spencer Perry and Devin Studstill. They're going to be great additions to the back end at the safety position. And then with Dante Vaughn, a 6'2" corner that's played at highest level, great football, great competition. We got corners like Troy Pride Jr., who's going to be incredible, can do so many different things. And help me out here, I'm missing with the corner position. There's a couple.
Dante Vaughn.
I talked about. Troy Pride. Julian Love.
Jalen Elliott.
Yeah, Jalen Elliott's incredible. He can play safety. He can play corner. He could be a nickel. He can do so many different jobs. And then you've got Julian Love just right up the street who, he's just an incredible athlete, can do so many things. So to put a synopsis on it, I think we got it right in the back end of our defense. For really numbers-wise, where it can affect both special teams and defense, we've really done a nice job.
I'm not gonna mention the name of the school that's trying to make a huge splash on signing day, but for you, you are familiar with that place. What was it that drew you to Notre Dame and made you a Notre Dame man? Why are you still here after 6 years? What makes this place so special to you?
Well, the thing that I love about it is I set it down when I was doing the overall interview with the media. Number one, it takes you a while to understand what this place is about. Like, people said they saw a change in Brian Kelly this year, or they saw a difference in his recruiting style. And really, all I can attest that to is when you're here as long as we've been, which is 6 years now, you finally understand what this place is about. It takes a while. There's a lot of things to take in. We spent year 1 and year 2 apologizing for what we see now as our distinctions. A kid has to live in a dorm for a couple years longer here than they do somewhere else. You have to actually go to class here and earn a grade. So, you're trying to sugarcoat this with recruits where now it's not an apology. This is what separates us. This is what's going to hit your brain when you come here. So it's a selective group of guys that when they get here, they either fall in love with that or they don't want a part of that. So guys will fall off right away when they leave our campus and don't even want to talk to us anymore, which is great. But this hits my brain here because it fits into exactly what I'm interested in, which is a Catholic education. My kids are going to a Catholic school. You don't need to be Catholic to appreciate that, but it's a regimen. It's detailed. It's got its tradition and history here that's just unmatched with anything, and it's just an exceptional school to be a part of with great support with Coach Mr. Swarbrick and then Coach Kelly. So what keeps me here is the support and the love and the consistency on campus, the camaraderie, the community. It's just a special place to be.
Mike, among the people you coach is a very capable recruiting staff. of people who have worked very hard to support our efforts in recruiting. How about just calling a little attention to them for us?
Definitely. Well, I'd love to start with our recruiting office, which we completely revamped when Coach Kelly tabbed me as the recruiting coordinator. We hired Aaron Carney. He's responsible for all the day-to-day operations within the office. He does such a fantastic job with unofficial visits, official visits. He has all the contacts of all the important people on campus. Adam Sargent, they do such a fantastic job when we finally get somebody here. Adam Sargent and his team. So Aaron does a great job of on-campus stuff, and then you've got his assistant, really, Jasmine Johnson, who runs all of our student worker program, our ambassador program. So when a young man is here on campus, he's able to see the campus and meet people because we facilitate that visit with a great student body. And then you've got Dave Poloquin, who we've identified his role, and he's really flourished this year in that role of he's responsible for the 85-man roster with Coach Kelly setting the numbers, how many guys we're going to recruit at a certain position, and then helping with the evaluation process of identifying who should Mike Elston be watching. I don't have to sift through 500 guys as much as, okay, Dave says these are the 50 guys you need to watch at linebacker. Okay, so he does a great job with that, and he also does our admissions for us. And then we had a full-time graphic designer / social media director, which is Lucas Pitcher. He's done a great job. And then I think that covers all of our recruiting staff. And then obviously with the addition of a guy like Autry Denson and Todd Light, who know what Notre Dame is about, they've been great additions. And then the whole staff itself with Harry Heastan, who just kills it with the offensive line and building relationships very early with the underclassmen. He does such a great job. And I mean, I could name off all the other coaches too, but I think we've got a great staff that has great camaraderie and that can really send the message that Brian Kelly wants and the consistency of that and what we're about.
Well, Mike, and thanks for your leadership of that. It's culminated in a very successful day. Thanks for joining us. Really
Thank you for having
appreciate you
me.
on a busy day finding time to join us. It was worth the wait.
Seriously,
it was great. We'll be
took a lot.
We will be back in a minute. Thank you.